Howdy, hey everyone, welcome back. Or maybe welcome to the first time to me drawing and talking. This drawing took me 16 hours and I did it in one sitting and accidentally didn't sleep because of it. One of those situations where you feel fine and then you look at the clock and man, it's 4 a.m. No point in stopping now. I'm actually a person who physically can't sleep once the sun is up. Like, it's super frustrating I can't do it. My body will not allow it. But I made this design for my merch line that just launched. Originally, it was going to be a hoodie design, but I don't know anything about clothes manufacturing. So when I asked, hey, do I need to limit the details I add? The merch guy said, no, you're fine. And they didn't expect me to go so ham on the shading. So it didn't work on a hoodie. They put it on a shirt. So it's a shirt, and you can buy a shirt if you would like a shirt. But if you don't want a shirt, you don't need to buy the shirt. I mean, it's totally up to you, my dude. It's just an option. Anyway, I still suck at writing scripts, so I wasn't sure right off the bat what I wanted to chat about in this narration. However, this picture has my pets in it, and people seem to like the first speed paint I did. That was me in my bed drawing while my pets were hanging out in my bed, and I talked about my pets. So, second verse, same as the first, let's tell some pet stories. Growing up, we had a variety of family dogs and one cat. The cat's name was Irvin. He was around since before I was born, so I didn't really get a lot of time with him, and because he was so old and confused and treating the house like a litter box when we were trying to sell it, my parents weren't really keen on getting another cat. Baby Ray, however, was desperate for a cat and kept begging and kept getting no's and being told I wasn't responsible enough. So I hatched a plan. Betwixt the years of 4th grade and 7th, I got the lowest maintenance pet I could possibly find, and I decided I would work my way up until they were forced to recognize that I could totally take care of a cat. I started with some fish that I brought home from a school fair and slowly expanded my aquarium to be pretty dope. Had all these different breeds of frogs and shit in like 3 separate tanks. Time passed, I eventually come home from summer camp with a hermit crab, and my younger brother just had to have one too, but didn't get a separate tank, so I took care of 2 hermit crabs. And somehow, after that, I convinced my parents to let me get a guinea pig, and again, my brother wanted one, so I took care of both. I don't remember a lot about that, but then the real kicker was a dog showed up at our door, and we took him out back and gave him a bath, and immediately after we let him inside, he claimed our couches, and we have him to this day. And then finally, about 8th grade, my parents caved and let me get my own kitten. I had adopted her from a lady who found her abandoned on Craigslist. I took her with me when I moved out into my first apartment, but my cat didn't like apartment life at all, so I had to give her to another family. And I cried a lot about it, but from this point on, all 2 animals that I've had were truly mine. And I got them all on my own. I've got that special connection with them that makes me feel safe just having them around. They're my children. If you haven't heard of them before, at this time, my oldest son, Jenko, is a 3-year-old Shiba Inu. I flew across the country to get him. I would actually die for him. His nicknames include Jenkins, Jacow, Jerko, Yonkers, and Potato Wedge. The people that I bought him from really confused me with exactly how tech-savvy they were, because they offered Bitcoin as a form of payment, but then they turned around and sent me the puppy contract in bright red and green Comic Sans. Honestly, lucky it wasn't a scam. My kitty 10, Bella Bella, isn't quite a year old yet. She's my babby kitten, and her nicknames include BB, Bella Bella, oh, that's just her name, Bella B, and Bratty Brat. And her full name is Bella Bella O Contralla, side note, just so everybody knows. I found her when I was trying to cheer up my friend Rain, who is super hungover. I took her to get food and walk around some shops. We wandered into a pet store, and whoops, we left with a cat. That sounds way more irresponsible than it actually was, but we'll come back to that. Both my pets are kind of assholes, and honestly, that's my favorite kind of pet. Not actually mean, but just like really quirky, you know? Jenko's mellowed out a ton since I got him because he's a big boy now. But he's always been super energetic and, quirky. Just some of the quirks were more baffling than others. And he's incredibly stubborn. Which, I mean, like mom, like son. I love this dog more than anything. Like, to the point that even the thought of something bad happening to him will bring me to tears. Once, I was on a road trip with my mom and my brother, and in the car, I was playing Pokemon Sun as a Nuzlocke. Jenko had his head in my lap, he was taking a nap, I had caught a Rockruff that I named after him way earlier in the game, trained it all the way to Lycanroc, I was about to go challenge the Elite Four, and Hao's Raichu killed Lycanroc Jenko. And I closed my game and set it down and stared at my actual dog, who was in my lap just fine, perfectly happy and alive, and I cried for like an hour. I'm stupid. Anyway, he loves to play fetch to the point that he'll carry his tennis ball with him everywhere. He's the physical embodiment of no take, only throw, and goes nuts for anything he even thinks is a ball. Back when I lived in Colorado, I was on a walk with him, and there was this teeny tiny little lake by the apartment that was totally frozen. Most of my life, I've lived where snow just doesn't exist, so common bodies of foreign water were just totally foreign to me, and I was curious, so I grabbed a rock from a little, I guess they're called like rock gardens. It was just, they're trees and rocks. I grabbed a rock from right next to the lake, and I, air quotes, skipped it over the ice, just to see what noise it would make, and that was a mistake, because Jenko saw me throw something, and now all rocks were toy balls. Anytime we walked past a bunch of rocks, he would scramble to try and lay down over all of them, like press himself flat and expand his surface area to hug as many as he could. And when I tried to get him to keep walking, he'd pick one up to carry the rest of the walk and then bring it all the way back to the apartment, and I'd have to wrestle him for it before we went inside. He also used to do this thing where if he saw the door was open, he'd get excited and try to bolt outside for a joyride. And it was horrifying because he's an idiot and would absolutely hypothetically run into the path of a car, so I'd book it after him. On one such occasion, I chased him barefoot and carted him back inside. Everything was totally fine, and then my foot started to hurt. And then it started to burn. And soon, I was in such excruciating pain that I was horrified I needed to go to the hospital and started calling everyone I could for help. My roommate, who was out of town at the time, suggested that I might need surgery, and I've had bad surgery experiences. So anytime I think I need to go back, I can and I will faint. I woke up to my friend Chris arriving to check on me. He looked at my foot only to find a shit ton of puncture wounds all in a row. Turns out I must have stepped on one of these extremely poisonous caterpillars that were just crawling around the apartment complex. I didn't need to go to the hospital, I just had to wait it out, and I couldn't walk for a few days, and that wasn't fun. Asshole dog. The worst thing he does, though, is on very rare occasions it'll be like 3 a.m. and he'll stare at nothing in the dark and then start barking like crazy. Part of the reason I got a dog in the first place was because I was super skittish at night, because a bitch is still afraid of monsters, and he was supposed to make me feel safe, and all he's doing when he goes nuts in the wee hours of the morning is confirming that ghosts are real and I'm going to die. Overall, he's my super sweet potato wedge boy who grew up around cats, so he knew how to play with them and be gentle so they wouldn't get hurt. I haven't had a cat in a while. He grew up with the cat that I had in middle school for a little bit, but after I gave her away, he still had my roommate's cats to play with, and since moving away from that roommate, the only thing I missed about living with her was her youngest cat, who is one of those assholes who woke you up by biting your toes and purring. You know, my favorite kind. I genuinely love those cats. They're so silly. But it's been well over a year since then, so I'd been tossing around the idea of getting a cat again in the future, and it wasn't until my dad passed that I decided, yes, I need one now. It's called self-love. I was planning on waiting a few months and going to a shelter to adopt and everything, but as I said, I took Rain to a bunch of stores to cheer her up from being hungover. She just wanted to look at cats, and we both happened to instantly fall in love with Bella Bella. The timing was right. We paid for her together, we brought her home. At first she was super timid around Jenko, but now she absolutely adores him. Like, she'll sprint up to him, wrap her paws around him like a hug, and then run away before he can turn around. They both cuddle up with me and with each other when we go to bed, so basically I'm living the dream. She's such a troublemaker though. She plays the cat pushing things off tables game to the extreme. I kept her food and water bowls on my counter so Jenko couldn't eat them, and she likes to knock them to the ground when they're full. And then she'll go to the shelf where all her other cans of food are stored and knock them over too, one at a time. At least once a day, I have to restock everything on my counter. I've tried to outsmart her and leave her food bowls on the floor so she can't keep knocking them over and making a mess of my carpet, but then she'll just flip them over and push them under furniture or to the other end of the room. I don't get it. She gets more intense with knocking things over when she wants attention. And listen, I'm happy to give my cat attention. That's why I got a cat. She likes to sit right on my chest and put herself right in my face, and I will give her so much lovin's. But the thing is, when she wants attention the most is in the middle of the night when I'm asleep. I've got a desk that has doors and is very top to the close to the ceiling. I have a hard time reaching it. It's probably a good 6 or 7 feet tall. I'm probably not describing this well. I don't know what to call the piece of furniture. I don't know its Christian name. The point is, it's really tall. I can't reach it without standing on a chair, and I'll store my sketchbooks and extra pillows and candles up there because they're just out of sight, out of mind. It's not a mess if I can't see it. Bella Bella started climbing my desk chair to get to the top, and she would lay down and knock all my candles to the ground. And it's loud and scary when she does it at 2 a.m. And it wakes me up every single time, without fail. And I got so fed up that I started closing the doors to the desk at night, moving the desk chair all the way to the other side of the room. And I'm like, okay, I've outsmarted her. I can sleep. It's fine. This fucking bitch. I don't know how she did it. She vertical leapt from the floor to the top of the desk. I didn't see her do it. I can't prove she did, but she had no other vehicle to get up with. And one moment she was on the ground, no chair, nothing to propel herself with. And the next minute, my candles were on the ground, and there she was, acting all fucking proud of herself. God, I don't know. I don't know how she did it. Anyway, Bella Bella isn't allowed to leave my room because my mom has a dog that's really big and might not be so gentle with her. We don't know, we're just being cautious. But she doesn't really need to leave my room anyway. My room is about the size of a small studio apartment. However, she's super curious to see the rest of the house. So occasionally she'll try to sneak out if the door is open for too long. Kinda like Jenko. Usually no big deal, it's just a cat in the hallway. You pick it up, you put it back in the room. But she's now devised a plan where every now and then, very sparingly, she'll hear me coming down the hall, sit right by the door, and then sprint as soon as I open it. And she only does it sometimes, and I'm positive that she's doing it on purpose to get my guard down. She's getting smarter, and I don't like it. So yeah, those are my pets. I am not unique in loving my pets, which is a really good thing. I think it's super cute how many YouTubers try to incorporate their pets into their channels just because they want to show off something that means so much to them. I also think it's cute how frenzied people get when you say, "Show me a picture of your pet," on any sort of social media. I was drunk on Twitter one night and I asked people to send me pet pictures, and I woke up to literally thousands of notifications. It was kind of awesome. So, along the same vein of thought, you guys should totally tell me about your pets. I love hearing about that shit. And with that, we've about wrapped the speed paint up. Thank you so much for watching again. This was a merch design. If you're interested in supporting me and my channel, maybe consider checking out my store. Link in the description, but also in the info card in the top right of the screen. Either way, super cool of you to watch this video. You are great. You look awesome today. I really appreciate you. And of course, while giving out thank yous, I have to say thank you to all my Patreons, especially my $10 tier, who are the following: Angel Hickman, Mr. Angry Fat Man, Firework Cat 25, Kurt Coleman, Red Panda C's, T-Dead Sec, Mixtech, Hayes V, Warren DuBois, Jason Roby, Zirin, Dan Warren, Cody Richard, Cookie Brook, Lauren, Mercy Mayhem, Frenchie the Fry, Catherine, Luke, Jonathan Demoisey, Ann Tillian, Elmira 503, On Fire 117, Bam Bow, Coda, Pourin Grains, Veloso Fox, David Lee, Sam Yoon, Lord Serenade, Lindsay Chirosaro, Lutheru, Michael McLaughlin, Katsuch, Rasuri On, Hikari Yu, Finale Grande, Finale Grand, Amanda Ackerman, King Pine Tree, Honey Bee, Delirious Decidui, Force Raider, Miu Kiki, Ravencloud, Blue Bones Neo, Scribble Jelly, Book Fan Geek, Kyukon Hime, Ashfear, Tiny, Generous Heel, Jack Ralph, Catherine Sokolowski, Kyle Friedner, The Scorched Blaze, Swift Chaos, Sage, Johnny Stars, Kara Stark Strange, Luciana Bloom, Orion Horizon Blue, and Kabuki! I also just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you so much. The support on my last video was super overwhelming, and especially the Patreon turnout. It's more than doubled. I really didn't expect it. I'm actually emotional about it. Thank you so much. I promise I am putting it to good use, and if you want to donate, you can. If you don't, it's totally cool. I post my speed paints and comic pages there early, and it'll help me afford to maintain a YouTube channel and 2 webcomics. Oh my fucking goodness. I'm so tired. Have a nice day, guys.